Hello everybody, this is Goji73 here with something new. As many of you know, there is a user on YouTube known as GojiFan1993, and for the past few years he has been working on a special fan film series of his own, known as the Kenshin Trilogy. This trilogy is comprised of the films Godzilla World Apocalypse, Godzilla The Return of Space Godzilla, and one that has been in production for years now, known as Godzilla Wrath of the Hybrid. I have had the special privilege of being able to watch it prior to its eventual debut, and per his request of it, here is a review on said film. Now before we dive right in, rest assured, this review will not contain any spoilers, or at least none that should ruin the experience for anyone, so let's get started. Now instead of making this review feel like a Color Timer review episode, because of the strict rule of no spoilers until its debut, I'm going to be reviewing this like a retrospective video to discuss what I thought was good and not so good about the fan film. The pros of the film are its cinematography, its music, and some of its characters. The cinematography for the film feels very much like watching a Millennium Godzilla film, and I mean that in its best sense. It captures how big and looming the monster action felt in those films, it carries the serious mood or tone that those films often carried, and the scenes involving the military are a big step up from the previous film, The Return of Space Godzilla. The music was a very surprising addition to the film. Of course, it utilized some music from the Godzilla series here and there, which is to be expected, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what was surprising about it is that it also has quite the collection of original music as well, composed by Vinnie DeGregory. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's quite a rare sight to see a fan film that goes the extra mile and adds in original music of its own, and it's definitely worth pointing out to give credit where it's due. As for the characters, if you've seen the previous film, then you already know what to expect. But let's just say it really takes risks, which is understandable since it's the last of the trilogy, and it just adds to the tone that the film has. However, with this all stated, the undeniably best part of the film is the animation. The film utilizes a combination of Gary's mod and source filmmaker for the most part, which is still uncharted waters for Godzilla fan films to explore. But again, the filmmakers went the extra mile and used other 3D programs like Blink Farm and Video Copilot in conjunction with them to get visual effects that neither Gary's mod nor Source Filmmaker are capable of to add some additional visual flair. And seeing how far they went to show off their work is really impressive to say the least. For the record, yes, I know about Dickard T's work, and his stuff is funny, but those are skits, whereas this is a full-on fan film. There is still a difference in that department. As for the cons of the film, I unfortunately can't talk about them too much because most of the ones I saw involve spoilers. But as for what I can discuss, the cons of the films are its acting and its pacing. Luckily though, unlike the pros, these particular cons are more or less just minor nitpicks. The acting, which, spoilers, I am a part of, feels a little stilted at times, but because getting guests to voice in fan films and having them sound the way you want them to sound is a pain to go through. My best guess was that the cast tried to give the best performance with what they were given. Again, I can't really hate it because a lot of fans will get a kick out of who's voicing who. I just wish that the cast had either given different takes or tried a little more harder with their performance. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying what they did was bad. It's definitely passable. I just felt it didn't feel really fleshed out is all. As for the pacing, while I stated that the cinematography of the film felt very much like a Millennium Godzilla film, unfortunately the movie kinda goes at a zigzaggy pace. It moves at a sluggish pace from time to time, only to immediately jump to another situation with little indication or build-up. Now when I say the film has a sluggish pace, I only really mean most of the character interaction and dialogue. Action scenes are exempt from this since they move at a pretty decent rate. Regardless, again, these are all just minor nitpicks. With that all said, there you have it, a non-spoilery review of Godzilla, Wrath of the Hybrid. Chris Cupers and Nico Molnar did an amazing job with their film, and they clearly went all out on it, and I'd say their efforts really show, as well as the cast they had on board to make it as well. They all did a terrific job, and for anyone who wants to see it, you'll be able to catch it on Saturday at this year's G-Fest, as well as when they eventually post on YouTube. You will not be disappointed.